Welcome into Sports Talk at the stadium from Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, where the Gamecocks down to Furman 47-21 Saturday night in front of over 78,000 fans, a sold-out crowd. The Gamecocks get their first win of the season. Gotta believe earlier in the day on Saturday, Gamecock fans were chuckling a bit when Clemson was having issues with Charleston Southern up in the Valley before the Tigers took control of that game and went on to a big win, not thinking the Gamecocks would face a similar situation against these Furman Paladins. But indeed, might have been the Tiger fans chuckling at the Gamecocks early in this one because Furman proved to be quite the opponents in the first quarter before the Gamecocks finally seized control of this game and ran away to the lopsided victory in what is the 50th renewal of the rivalry with the program from the upstate. So 47-21 was the final. Story of the game, Spencer Rattler, who was simply sensational, picking up where he left off in the North Carolina game. And in a zone that quarterbacks seek and maybe rarely get to, but he is certainly right there after two games, completing over 88% of his passes for nearly 700 yards in his first two games of the season. Quick recap of how the game basically went. When Furman jumped out to an early lead after the Gamecocks drove on their first possession, Mitch Jeter hit the left upright from 49 yards out for his first miss as a Gamecock. And then Furman went down the field and a 51-yard option pass or double pass by Joshua Harris to Kendall Deal put the Paladins at the 3. And then the Paladins got in on a run by Dominic Roberto, scoring from the 1 on fourth down for a 7-0 lead. USC came right back, 72 yards, 7 plays, with Rattler having completions of 20 and 27 yards. And it was Joyner who scored the touchdown for the Gamecocks. He would run in from the 3-yard line to carry on Joyner to make it 7-7. Furman then went 66 yards in 11 plays, mixing the run and the pass and looking very, very good. And the Gamecock defense looking a little bit shell-shocked about what was going on out there. And their quarterback, Huff, hit Shiflett for 4 yards, a touchdown. Paladins are up 14-7. But then it was all Gamecocks the rest of the way as they scored the next 40 points. USC came back with a 10-play, 60-yard drive. Rattler was 4 for 4 for 49 yards on the drive, and he scored on a 1-yard sneak. And during that drive, he actually extended a completion streak to 20, dating back to the North Carolina game before he had an incompletion, 14-14 at that point. USC then with a 10-play, 74-yard drive. Rattler to Luke Doty, 36 yards, touchdown pass. So Doty now in his career at South Carolina has 9 touchdowns passing, 1 touchdown rushing, and 1 touchdown receiving. 2-point conversion attempt failed. USC leads 20-14. Then the Gamecocks starting at their own 25 with 23 seconds left in the half. And Rattler hit Xavier Legette 53 yards. Then a pass interference call on Furman moved the ball to the 7. And Rattler then with a 7-yard touchdown pass to Omega Blake. And the Gamecocks had turned this thing, leading at the half 27-14. In the third quarter, Rattler to Legette for 42 yards, a touchdown to make it 34-14. And Rattler was pretty much done for the night after that. The freshman Sellers came in, and on a play that was not supposed to turn out the way it did, after he scrambled around, maybe he missed a read, but he rolled to his right, and his fellow freshman, Russell, was open behind the Furman defense, and he fired it 50 yards on a dime, a beautiful throw. The touchdown made it 40-14. Extra point snap was bobbled, and so the Gamecocks do not kick it there, and it's 40-14. Sellers would throw another touchdown pass to make the final 47-21 after Furman added a late touchdown after the Gamecocks lost their first fumble of the season. 47-21 the final. USC 571 yards to 323 for Furman, 463 through the air. Gamecocks did crack 100 yards rushing, 108. 9 of 15 on third down. And the Gamecocks, a very impressive 14.5 yards per completion. Rattler was 25 of 27 for 345 and 3 touchdowns. And Sellers came in. He was 4 for 4, 86 yards and 2 scores. Leggett had 6 catches for 118 yards and a score. Eddie Lewis, 6 catches for 89 yards. And Marion Brown, 6 catches for 42 yards before being hurt. He left the game with a hamstring injury, which Shane Beamer said he did not believe would be something that would keep him out of the Georgia game as of things look tonight. But time will tell on that during the week. Tyler Huff for Furman was 14 of 24, 129 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. The Gamecocks are continuing to deal with a lot of injuries. On the sideline tonight, looking at the sideline and seeing guys who were not playing at the start or added to the injury list. You've got Marquis Anderson. Marion Brown was added. Keenan Nelson came out. He was hurt. Of course, Nichols has been out. Brubaker's been out. Spalding's been out. Henry's been out. Kaba is out for the season. And Gear remains out. So long list of injured and walking wounded for the Gamecocks as they need to get healthy and need to get right before they go to Athens next week. So the Gamecocks are 1-1 with a disappointing loss to North Carolina with an expected win over Furman. And now they go to the SEC grind, beginning with a trip to Athens to take on Georgia next weekend. The hope for the Gamecocks, of course, the hope is that Spencer Rattler can stay in this zone and his receivers can continue to catch the ball at a high level like they have. Perhaps they've got to get the tight ends more involved. Knox had a couple of catches. Simon had a couple of catches, but still not making the big impact that we thought going into this season. Maybe that will change as they go to Athens this weekend. They're going to need more weapons because you know that Georgia is going to bring pressure on Rattler. They're going to set up their defense to negate Leggett. They need a healthy Juice Wells to step up. They need Marion Brown to be healthy. And they need some other people to emerge at wide receiver, maybe Luke Doty, maybe somebody else. And, of course, it wouldn't hurt them to get a running game going. But the offensive line is still a very, very big question mark. They ran in some freshmen tonight trying to give them a look. How much more they can work them in against Georgia remains to be seen. But still, the offensive line is something that is a big question mark and needs a big step forward in improvement if the Gamecocks are going to beat the better teams on their schedule now coming up. But for tonight, the Gamecocks celebrate the win over the Furman Paladins. Final score here, 47-21 at Williams-Brice Stadium. Tomorrow night, Sunday, Shane Beamer will have his conference call. We'll have that covered. And, of course, we'll talk all about it on Sports Talk Monday night. Thanks for joining us here, Sports Talk at the Stadium. Our coverage brought to you by the South Carolina Beef Council.